promises with the rest of the country. Thank you.
Before we came to the solutions, we asked ourselves what brings about insecurity. First of all, maybe you can categorize it maybe into different categories, but I'll just put them together. There is unequal distribution of resources. There is poor governance among our countries. There is corruption, and so on. So we decided that we, as the superpowers, we are going to create awareness with the African youth and maybe the Asian youth by offering them sponsorships and scholarships to these universities to come and study conflict resolution courses, to come and study courses that can help them to maintain peace in their own country. So after the training, they can go back to their countries and maybe try to help in their countries. The second one was encouraging African countries to disarm. The other one was to encourage other countries to join us, to sign the agreement, the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The Non-Proliferation Treaty, it's all about the weapons, not legalizing the weapons.
That Africans should learn to accept that women can also lead, that also people from different caliber can also lead. That will help to reduce peace, to reduce various instabilities, various conflicts within the African countries based on interests or beliefs. We have to inculcate spirit of nationalism within Africans themselves. That Africans should be patriotic to their countries. Through that way, we can be able to. Through that way of being nationalists, we can be able to unite and do various activities that help to maintain peace and security in the country, in the world in general, and in the continent, through nationalism, that is patriotism within us. Also, we have to possess sovereignty. That is, we have to have full power to make decisions without interference from the European countries.
Asian countries, they suggested that we should call upon all Asian countries to support diplomatic issues. Good example is China. China, they are having their own websites. They have their own social medias. So how this? We are global. We have to share different ideas.
Partnership is very much important in implementation of these things. True or false? True. And partnership basically involves the state parties, it's the government, whatever is talking about, the non-governmental organizations, and the international community. Yeah? Now how do we link these three? Remember, in international relations, nasemanga the basic thing inakuanga, the state is the highest entity. One. Hakuna venye UN inaweza kuja iambie nchi kama Tanzania do 1, 2, 3 in your country. It doesn't work like that. Yeah? International law is based on consent. That's why it's talking about signatories, whereby nchi fulani inasema these laws have been passed, I agree to be bound by them, and I'm signing as the president of Tanzania to be bound by these laws. Mashika. So the question is this. If, for example, he's going to ask state governments or state parties to foster partnerships between them, or rather support the non-governmental organization within their jurisdictions, how is it going to be articulated?
And if we could get a partnership with the Gulf countries, they could just give us funds which we can use in order to handle those conflicts, because we cannot just invest in planting trees when we know that if the conflict stays, they will keep cutting those trees. So it means that we do not just want to fix the symptoms, but go at the root of the
Your Excellency, President, Secretary General, Head of Drafter, kindly welcome to the second General Assembly session. Thank you.
Today, I mention your delegation's name, and you're going to say President voting if you want to vote, absolutely, or just President. Australia, please be louder. Belgium,
Present and voting.
Benin, Brazil,
Present and voting.
Burundi,
Present and voting.
Canada,
Present and voting, Mr. President.
Libya, Namibia,
Present and voting.
Nigeria, Norway. State your point.
Mr. President, is it in order for you as the President to declare the opening of the GA before completing the recall? It's our great concern that what if the column wasn't enough, rich to 2/3, then would you close the recall or what?
It's an order to call on the roll call after the General Assembly has been opened. Today's agenda is peace and security. And on that note, I would love to welcome the head of drafters to speak on peace and security.
Dear delegates, good morning. The issue of peace and security is most crucial in this era of 21st century generation. We really need to address the issue of peace and security with all effort, despite of the differences in capacity among nations, power among nations, and national circumstances. We can only succeed if we build a consensus on the issues that are planting or are firing the conflict and misunderstanding among our nations. Dear delegates, you are here in General Assembly, but to your country there is a lot of conflict which is not reported and some are reported. Just to remind you, as By the end of these sessions, we decided to come up with solution on these issues. So your cooperation is highly encouraged in brainstorming and identifying the causes and possible solution in diplomatic way.
I stand here to make some clarifications on the Burundian crisis. Everyone here has to know that the crisis did not start very soon. It takes the roots deep in the past. The past which starts with the colonization. Before the independence, before colonization, Burundi was a very peaceful country. But divisions which came with imperialism. And what everything you see today is an impact of this imperialism. Then it is with deep regret that Burundi notices that there are some Western countries that still have the intention to come and divide Burundians and tell them that the crisis today is ethnic-based. Burundi is a sovereign country and calls upon all the Western countries to let Burundi deal with its own crisis. And Burundi is a very open country. You see that it is open to dialogue. It believes in the dialogue as the only means of solving its problems, not by resorting to violence. Thank you very much.
Okay, talking about peace and security in Egypt. Egypt has been a victim of terrorism in the skies relatively recently. Last October, Metrojet's charter plane, filled with Russian tourists, crashed into the Sinai Desert shortly after taking off from the Egyptian Red Sea resort heading to Russia. All 224 passengers died in the crash. Also recently in May, the disappearance of Egyptian plane MS-804 from Paris to Cairo, possibly caused by pirates' air, bad weather, or terrorism.
What we are encouraging this General Assembly to come up with, first is disarmament. We think for us to agree and make resolution, we should stop producing of more weapons.
I think it is important to know that the issue of Burundi is an issue of election, democracy, and accountability. I think, for me, the issue of the president seeking for a third term is a matter of civil unrest. I think this stability is caused internally, and is a matter that needs to be addressed by the United Nations through sanctions, and perhaps through another approach, also through with the AU.
So each country is responsible for its own security. It's a matter of health system security.
Those who are in favor of the motion to move to the caucus, raise your placards. Thank you. And those who are against? Those who are in favor have passed. And therefore, I will call on the Chief of Protocol to give further instructions on the issue of caucuses. And the General Assembly is now declared suspended.
So, in form of reform and all, I would like to suggest to use people's talents instead. A talent does not need to go back in class and start learning about it. For these youth who have, they already have the age, they have exceeded the learning age, the part from being, they have not received education since their childhood. I would request for imparting entrepreneurship skills, using of their talents to develop employment opportunities for them.
But I think it's a very good idea that she mentioned entrepreneurship skills. They are very, very important nowadays.
In referring to the realism theory, they say that trade and economy is one of the tools in peacekeeping and peace peacemaking. Now, I propose as a resolution that different countries, especially African countries, in reference to South Africa and Tanzania, that they should make a reformation in trade and economy policies that will favor competition in the international system, pertaining the Africans in business and trade relations.
What kind of technology will be invented in each country? In each country should have its own local technology that will help them to rise from one place to another. They should not depend on any transfer of technology from one place to another. They should create themselves. The kind of technology, if I go to France, I find a quite different of technology from the one in North Korea.
Okay. Yeah. I think on my side,
those who have already made the steps in technology should continue doing that, and those who are still not making, they should focus on making their technology growing up fast as they can, so that they can reach a place where no poverty at all.
So we, as Sweden, we propose that these developing countries should not depend on rain, and now they must start to depend also on water sanitation and water sustainability, so that they can help the situation.
Instead of perhaps us making vague contributions, I would suggest that perhaps one way to improve, to use technology to alleviate poverty, let's say for instance, is the issue of seed production. Seed production for the small farmers, that are, especially in the agricultural sector. Find a way to produce more seeds that can allow them to really reproduce food on a larger scale, to be able to feed the nation, into all different nations, and also able to produce, for export, hence creating employment.
Kwa skata. Kwa kama unaweza kufikika kijijini kwenu huko, mna kijana kwenye kamtaa, na vikundi vile vya vikoba sijui, then basi tunaweza kuwafikia, kwa sababu lengo la asasi ya Umoja wa Mataifa ni kuhakikisha vijana wanakuwa karibu zaidi na ajenda za Umoja wa Mataifa. UNCTN inafanya kazi na kusimamia vitu vitatu pia vikubwa: establish, sustaining and rejuvenate all UN programs, Tanzania bara na visiwani.
Greater Foundation nini? Greater Foundation wana